On this video, we're going to tell you everything you need to know to prepare for 2018. The good, the bad, nothing ugly. Let's go. Hey everybody, this is Antoine with Katapult.Marketing, and this is Webcast number 27. And today we have Christofer Carfi with GoDaddy. Hi Chris, how are you?
I'm well, Antoine. How are you doing?
I am doing marvelous. We're in Florida. It's starting to cool off. You know, it's just actually we have temperature below the 80s now, if you believe it or not. So it's like it's cool for us.
Yeah, we're starting to do the same thing. We're out. Our office here is out in Sunnyvale, California, so we're starting to get down into the 40s, 50s, and 60s now.
Very cool. So we couldn't be any further away from one another, right? You're totally on the West Coast, and I'm totally on the East Coast. So, Chris, I know I saw you speak at Social Media Marketing World and at other conferences and whatnot. So I think a lot of people knew who you are, but just for the couple of people that don't know who you are, please introduce yourself. Say, obviously your name, and I've already said that, and what you work for, but you know, what gets you up in the morning?
Sure. So Christofer Carfi, I head up content marketing here at GoDaddy. What that means is I look after all of our content that is really on the educational and informative side, so everything that's on our blog, look after our international content strategy as well. So if you go to our sites in the U.S. or Spain or Germany or all across Latin America, U.K., Turkey, etc., all of those different sites have localized blogs that they are using to connect up with their customers. Before being at GoDaddy, long and checkered history. Before that, a number of different startups. Had my own company for a number of years, and actually started out on the consulting side many years ago. Actually, as a technologist, looking at a lot of emerging technologies like artificial intelligence way back before it was a buzzword.
Yeah, way before it was a buzzword. Now everybody is talking about it. Actually, that's what I saw you talk about in San Diego, artificial intelligence, and with Christopher Penn, I remember, and you you literally scared the crap out of me with all the stuff you were talking about.
Well, hopefully not literally.
I think the robots are coming to take us, right? In any case, so you have an amazing background, and so thank you so much for being here on the show with us. What we want to talk to today, obviously, for small businesses, we're wrapping up 2017, and hopefully it's been a good year for you. And maybe it hasn't, but it doesn't matter. This is just the ups and downs of going in business, and then we're headed now for 2018. And we should all start to be thinking about our strategy for what to do in 2018, sorry. And I've asked you to think of three things we could share with people in terms of what you should be looking at and making sure that that's in line for 2017. So the first one is just the first point you want to talk about, just making sure you had the basic stuff really handled, like your website, mobile. So tell us a little bit about that. What do you mean by having your processes and your website in place?
Yeah, I mean it's really fundamental. And when I look at the data out there, there are still huge amounts of small businesses that don't have their own web presence. They do not have their own real estate on the web. So if somebody is looking for them, they're not going to get found. Or if they do have a website, if they do have a web presence, it may be a number of years out of date. It might not have been designed for mobile. And there are so many different ways to get that up to sort of modern standards now in a really straightforward fashion. You can use a website builder. You can use a system like WordPress, and depending on the needs of the organization, either of those is fine. The main thing is really having it out there, saying what you do, making sure that people can find you, social proof, making sure that new prospective customers can see that, oh, you actually did help other people just like me in the past. That those sites can be found on Google, because significant amount of traffic, especially local traffic from local businesses, comes from search engines. And so it's really setting that foundation in place and then being able to modify it and evolve it over time. It's being able to add new products and services once you have those. It's being able to put up new customer stories when you've worked with somebody who's been doing some really cool stuff. And so it's it still is amazing that we see so many organizations that haven't gotten their web presence up, and
Yeah.
if they do, it's not set up to actually be found on mobile or the like. And so that's still kind of part and parcel and a baseline thing that
Right.
organizations need to be doing.
Yeah, I would say like, listen, 2017 going on 2018, it's not an option for your website not to be mobile responsive. I mean, it's, for me, it's if that's still not done, um, you need to you need to seriously look at it. And then the other thing that I would actually say is, like, some people do have mobile responsive websites, so they are mobile friendly, but they're not particularly well done. Where it's more like, okay, so it's mobile response, so it does respond to a mobile device, but there's not a lot of thought put into it. And I would invite people to look at their analytics and seeing how much of their traffic is actually coming, or the visitors coming from a mobile device. And I would spend some time, just really looking at the experience on your website. As on a mobile device, how does your website interact? Is it easy to find the contact info? Is the phone number clickable? Is there a map? Like, just the basic stuff. For us, what we're trying to do is, it's two different versions. The desktop and the mobile is not the same. There's just some stuff that makes sense on the desktop that is not on the mobile, and we take it out. A lot of it sometimes is the slider. We'll just have a completely different slider because it doesn't make sense. So that's a very, very good point there. The first one, get your stuff, at least the basic, like, be mobile responsive. Your website needs to be built properly. You need to have your SEO in order and all that. So that's really a great point for 2018 if you haven't done it already. The second point was actually very interesting. You were talking about leveraging personal and professional life. And I thought it was interesting that you came up with that because we just met at the Digital Mastermind group in Orlando. And after I believe you left when it was on the last day, the last 3 hours, we talked about burnout. We talked about burning the candle on both ends and just really being completely overwhelmed. So I thought it was interesting that you brought that up. So tell me, tell us what do you see as what a business owner should be doing around leveraging and separating their personal and professional life?
Yeah, I think there's really two different aspects to it. The first is, if you're thinking about it from the business perspective, if you're a small business, someone's getting in touch with you, or you are reaching out to them, you meet them on a plane, you meet them at a conference, you meet them in line at the coffee shop, making sure that there is a level of professionalism and credibility. So having, if you're still using a Hotmail account as your business email, maybe time to step up and actually have one that matches the actual name of the organization and have the domain set up for that. Same thing with phone calls as well. So when somebody calls you on your phone, unless you have gotten to the point where you're carrying two phones around, which is a huge pain, and you don't want, and more importantly, you don't need to do that anymore. Having a dedicated number set up for the business, and you can do that right on your personal phone now. So I mean, we actually just launched a thing called Smart Line that is exactly for that. So you can just add a second line to your existing personal cell phone. It gives you a new number, and either when you're getting calls in, it's a business call. When you're making calls out, folks see it as the business number. And so being able to separate those two is incredibly important. And on the burnout side, it's really the flip side. If you're not doing that, if you haven't done that, if you don't have a business email set up, if you don't have a business phone line set up, you never can go on vacation. You can never turn yourself off, and you can never disengage to get to that point where you can actually reflect and say, okay, I just need to chill and and get some relaxation in, but also that time to get far enough away from the business to understand what's working, what's not working, what are the things that you should be thinking about, for 2018, for example. And so really having that separation between the two is absolutely critical, because otherwise you can literally never go offline. You can never clock out, and you're always sort of waiting for that interruption. You can never get to understand yourself, understand your family, and do all those things that are even more important in many cases than the other things that you're doing from 9 to 5.
Yeah. You said Yahoo, but you didn't mention at AOL.com, right?
That is
Right.
that is correct. Yes.
So listen,
Yep.
if you still have an AOL at AOL account to run your business, please don't. It's not good. It's just really uh, the problem is it hurts your credibility, and it's so easy now to have an email. And I know why you don't do it is because you've been using this email address since King Tut was in power, and you just don't want to give it up. But it's like you can forward that and use a new email at your name at yourcompany.com, and that's just a lot more professional. One of the things actually that's really interesting for us, we're a bit of a bigger company. We're not a one person operation, but we used to be in Delray Beach, which is about 20-minute south of here, and I had installed a whole phone system. Right, it cost me like $3,000, and each person had 125 telephone unit on their desk, and it could do call forwarding and all this stuff. And when we moved, I just realized that we couldn't move the phone system. It was pretty much nailed. All the wires were in the ceilings and stuff, and I was like, man, I invested all that money and I can't move it. And I just got really angry, and I just say, you know what, we're all going to use our mobile phone. At the time, we all had a mobile phone.
Yep.
But what I just didn't like that, I didn't want my employee to give their personal phone number to my clients, because then they could be called over the weekend after hours and everything. You just kind of like have a line. And I found this company, Call Ruby, in your neck of the woods, a little bit north of you, and they're absolutely amazing. So all our calls are forwarded to them. They get the phone call, and then they forward it to whoever is asking, and it's been absolutely fantastic. And that company is really, really great. So that's one of the easy way. You have people that can answer the phone for you, like Call Ruby system, or there's plenty of others out there. And then they forward it to you. So it gives a professional thing, because someone's going to call, is going to say, may I speak? And I can tell Call Ruby, by the way, I'm not available this afternoon. I'll be in a plane. So they'll know right away. They'll say, I'm sorry, but Antoine is out of the office right now. They don't even have to try. They know, because it says on the computer that I'm out. That's really an easy way to be very professional. And invest a little bit in there, but it's just going to make a huge difference and give you a peace of mind. So that was a great second point. Thank you. So the first point about the processes, the second one about leveraging personal and professional life, and the third one, which was also interesting that you brought that up, was partners to work with people that can help you where you're weak. And then my notes was, when we talked before, was understand your strength and your weaknesses. So talk about this, like, what do you mean by partnership, and what do you mean by that?
Yeah. So especially for small businesses, there's typically some reason you got into that. It was something you were really good at, something you were really passionate about, hopefully both, but it's probably not everything. So there are folks who are great, great in the construction business or real estate or restaurants and food, but might not be great web designers or web developers. Flip side, you might be an amazing designer, but need some help with accounting. And so what we're finding is that the really successful small businesses have this group of folks who they work with to really balance out all of those different things. So we've seen a lot, especially in our business, the number of web designers and web developers who our other small businesses who are our customers are partnering up with. And so we try to really support both of those groups, the folks who are focused on whatever their particular industry is, but then if they need help on the technical side of things, partnering up with a designer or developer or an accountant or a lawyer or a marketing agency like yourself. And really, you can't do everything, and it's really impossible to do everything well. And so understanding what is the collection of folks you need to have as part of your team that you can reach out to when you need to ask a question, and be able to find those mutually beneficial ways to work together is absolutely critical to actually being able to scale, and again, kind of keep that healthiness and that sanity and the things moving forward.
Right. So yeah, and actually we actually do that quite well with my company, because there are some needs that we have in my company, but they don't require a full-time. It's not a full-time job. And it's like you do without, and you kind of need it. So we actually find freelancers. There's plenty of people out there that are, one-man operation, one or two men, or one woman, two women operation, that would love to be on retainer. So that's what we do. We have people with, and actually it's a monthly retainer, but it's a nominal fee, and then they exchange for a certain number of hours providing services for us that we need, but we just don't have a sufficient amount of of hours to pay someone full time, or it's just an area where we don't have expertise. In our business, I know digital marketing. It's so many different types of needs that our clients have that it's just almost impossible to be really great at everything. And I discovered that there's a lot of companies, actually a lot of web. And actually, it's for you out there. If you're dealing with any kind of digital marketing agency, you should ask them, what is your strength? What are you really good at? Because you'll find that they advertise they do everything, but they're really good at a couple only, right? Because you can't possibly, unless they have, 30, 40 employees, you can't possibly be that good at everything. So that would be my tip, and like that. So this was really good. 3 solid point for businesses to prepare for 2018. I hope we got we gave you some values out there. If you have any comments, just put them right below. I will, and if it's a question for right below. If it's a question for Chris, I will reach out to him. He's on the other side of the United States, on the west side, so it may take a little while before he gets back. And if you got value out of this video, give us the thumbs up, or share this video with whoever who you mean, who you have in mind that needs to hear this message. You can share that with them. And on that note, Chris, thank you so much for joining me and sharing words of wisdom for people to prepare for 2018.
Absolutely. Thank you for the invitation. It's great to catch up. And like Antoine said, if anybody has any questions, just drop them right down there, and we will make sure we get them answered for you.
Right below. All right. Thank you so much, Chris. You have an amazing day.
Thanks. You too, sir. Cheers.